Fantasy Footballers Sunday Live.
What's up, everybody? It's Week 12. Well, Week 12's been going on for a little bit, but it's the bulk of Week 12. It is the main slate. Welcome into Sunday Live. I am your host today, Mike the Fantasy Hitman Wright from the Fantasy Footballers Podcast. Thank you for joining me on such a beautiful Sunday morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are located. Got a lot of news to talk about. We'll try not to react too much to the Thursday games. We'll save that for the Monday podcast because there is a lot to talk about. I got Owl Borland is my best friend today.
What's up, best friend?
Yay, best friend. He's chilling back there on the ones and twos, trying to debug some fun Stream Deck stuff. How are we looking back there?
We're doing all right.
Fair enough. So if you never joined us, Week 12, I guess, is the time to jump into Sunday Live. Who knew? But the way that this show works, we break down all the big news. Then we jump into some start-sit questions, which thefantasyfootballers.com, that's where our rankings are. That's where they always are, and that is where they only are. But we have a start-sit tool over there, Player X versus Player Y. We break down a bunch of different variables of the game, including our rank, how we would play, like who we would play, basically, and hopefully we are helping to equip you to make the best decision that you can make for your team. And we look at those throughout the week as they're coming in, and every week there is always some hot players. So we take a look at the really big, important questions. I can't possibly talk about every single player right here, right now. Hopefully y'all enjoyed the Megalodon episode. Always a very fun marathon for us as we record for, like 2.5 straight hours. It's wild. It's exhausting, but and I guess you can't go back to it. There's no time. You can't listen to the Megalodon now because the week is upon us. But anyways, we look at those trending, and then we jump into the actual questions from the listeners. So here we go. Let's get into it.
The big picture.
All right. Derek Carr's going to play, everybody. Hooray. I mean, if you got Rashid Shaheed, you're probably pretty happy about this news because I don't know why Derek Carr doesn't like Chris Olave. I mean, probably because he, stops running routes sometimes and gets hit in the head with the ball sometimes. I would like Chris Olave if I were Derek Carr. But anyways, running back. Some news that was had some players, some managers trembling in their boots yesterday. Rashad White is going to play of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He was added late. Never like a late addition to the injury report. But if you looked into it, something just locked up with his knee for a little bit, and then they kind of shut him down just as a precaution. But he is in, and a follow-up to that, Keyshawn Vaughn is inactive. So the team has, at least with their actions, they're telling us, full confidence in Rashad White. So how I am starting him is how I've been looking to start him this entire year. Dameon Pierce will be playing for the Texans. Devin Singletary, what does that do? I mean, I would assume that Devin Singletary will be the 1A, if nothing else, if not the 1. But it's an unknown, and it's a huge amount of risk because Dameon Pierce is a good player. He just has not had a good year. Jerick McKinnon is out for the Kansas City Chiefs. Hopefully you are not having to start him. Kendry Miller, Kendry Miller has a lost season here for the New Orleans Saints. And Deonta Foreman is doubtful for Monday night. Move on from him. We kind of covered the Chicago game on the Megalodon of, it's a disaster. I mean, I guess a Hail Mary for Khalil Herbert against the Minnesota Vikings, who have had a better defense as the months have been progressing. Not the most optimal play. Zay Jones, he will be playing yet again. So does that translate into another big Calvin Ridley game? We will find out. Darius Slayton, I guess he is back, and as is Devontae Parker. Here come the outs. T. Higgins remains out for eternity. I believe I saw a tweet from Joe Goodberry, tremendous Bengals follow over on Twitter. But he threw out, I did not vet it, so it's his stat, that T. Higgins has played as basically 60% of the possible snaps that he could play. I mean, yikes. That's not how you get a big money contract. Noah Brown remains out for the Texans. That's a bummer. Treylon Burks for the Titans is out. Michael Wilson is out yet again. If you're playing DFS, Greg Dortch, plug your nose and jump in. Kadarius Toney is out. McCole Hardman has been placed on the IR. What are the Chiefs going to do at wide receiver? Probably just continue to do the same thing that they've been doing and hose everyone who has interest in fantasy football. Hollywood Brown expected to play. Now for the Ravens, it's a little bit dicey, honestly. Oh, thank you. Jeremy pulled it up. T. Higgins, 66.8. I apologize. I took away nearly 7% of what T. Higgins has done. 66.8. Dude. And that number is going to go down. Anyway, so the Ravens, if you've not been paying attention, which I don't blame you, Thanksgiving week is always a strange week. Kind of just disappears. News is happening, but you're not really paying attention. Zay Flowers missed a late practice with a hip injury. He reported immediately, don't worry about it, I am going to play. He is listed as questionable. It is the Sunday night game. Odell Beckham, he's listed as questionable as well. Zay Flowers, before this injury, was an absolute home run play. That's why he was my start of the week. There's just more risk now. I'm still going to play Zay Flowers. I'm not going to move away from that, but it does come with risk, so maybe you're looking at your lineup and saying, I don't want to take on that. I'm not going to mitigate that risk. I'm going to go with a different player. Jalen Guyton is questionable for the Chargers. Justin Jefferson. What do we do with a Monday Night Football Justin Jefferson? He's listed as questionable. To me, the way that the team was talking about him, talking about Coach O'Connell, I don't think he plays. If you just want to put your head in the sand, cross your fingers, cross your toes, cross your butt cheeks, and hope that Justin Jefferson plays, that's up to you. But you got to have a backup option Monday night. I would just be putting Jefferson on the bench and getting him back in 2 weeks because then they have the bye next week. I think that's when Jefferson comes back. So week 14, if you make it to the playoffs, Dallas Goedert's out for the Eagles still. Yeah, because he broke his arm. Like, what is sometimes injuries are so strange. Hayden Hurst is out. Mark Andrews is placed on the IR. And Gerald Everett is questionable. Jeremy, is the computer all fired up? Does it have all of our information?
Let me check. Sure does.
That sound means positive.
That's
Thanks.
right.
All right, let's get to it.
He's so hot right now.
All right, who's hot? Who's not?
There is a wide receiver that a lot of people are asking questions about, so let's jump right into that. Puka Nacua.
Okay.
We'll start with the same game. Puka Nacua or Cooper Kupp?
Okay, I should say it's not in our news because it was like in the middle of the week, but Cooper Kupp is going to play. I am playing Cooper Kupp. Maybe that is a fool's errand thing to do, coming back so quickly off of what knocked him out for the game with an ankle sprain and his lower body just seeming to not want to play football. If Cooper Kupp is active, there's no way that I am benching him. Now, if you are in this unfortunate situation that you have Puka and Cooper Kupp, number one, you should have traded one. Just so you don't have this nightmare that you must live on a week in and week out basis. Number two, the matchup is so tasty. I don't remember what the score is basically of like Puka games versus Cooper games when they're both active. I think it's Puka has more than Cooper Kupp. Kupp has been bad for the past few weeks since the return. Had the huge game and then kind of fell off. I'm playing Cooper Kupp. Maybe that could be hard-headed and stubborn, but the way that I look at it is Cooper Kupp is the superstar of the team. Puka is fantastic, great upcoming career, but I'm still going to stick with Cooper Kupp. I'm going to take my lumps if it doesn't work out. Puka is the safer play, absolutely, because things can always, well, what if this happens? What if that happens? What if Cooper Kupp is just great again and he's on your bench? That would be a pretty terrible thing for me personally. So I'm going to play Cooper Kupp over Puka, even though it feels a little sketchy. But I'm going to go with Cooper Kupp. Who's next?
All right. So are you going to play that safer play, Puka Nacua or Chris Olave?
Oh, that is interesting. So my rankings certainly have Chris Olave. Oh, wait, no. I have Puka higher. Okay, I was like, I can't find Puka in
All
here.
three of you have Puka
Yeah,
higher.
yeah, I would go with Puka. The matchup against Arizona, Chris Olave's matchup versus Atlanta. Also, he has a matchup versus Derek Carr. And those two things together have not worked out so much for Chris Olave. I'm going to take Puka because, again, I'm playing Cooper Kupp, but looking at all the risks and all the variables, there's a chance that both Cooper Kupp and Puka have a great game. And Kyren has a great game.
We'll get to him.
Yeah, I'm sure we will. Arizona's defense is stinky doo-doo trash. And at any given moment, someone can have a great game against them. So I'm willing to play all my Rams. And I would play them, or Puka. Man, I might need to adjust Cooper Kupp then. Yeah, I got to bump Cooper Kupp up my rankings because I would play Puka over Chris Olave, which means I would play Cooper Kupp over Chris Olave as well. Who's next?
Okay, this one's a little tighter in the rankings. Puka Nacua or Tank Dell?
Oh, my gosh. So I think that the odds are more in favor of Puka with the Arizona game. But Tank Dell is, by definition, he's on fire. I'm trying to remember. Are we at 3 games in a row here for Tank? Because the rules are rules, and we must respect. Yeah, he is.
Wide receiver 1, 11, and 3 the last 3 weeks.
Yeah, it's Tank Dell. Puka by himself is at the level of, like, I'm not looking at the matchup in terms of if no Cooper Kupp is there, Puka, you just play him. Like, matchup, it does not matter. Tank Dell, at this point, I'm not looking at a matchup. We have 3 straight weeks of double-digit targets, 3 straight weeks of being a wide receiver 1, 2 of those basically at 25 points. I'm going to play Tank Dell. I'm going to play Tank Dell over Puka because I think that he is safe, and I think that he has tremendous upside as well. Who's next?
All right, last one for Puka Nacua. DJ Moore or Puka?
Oh, goodness gracious. I would play. I'm like overloading on the Rams now. This is a situation. I would play Puka. I would play Puka over DJ Moore. I think that the Minnesota offense or defense has been getting better. Sitting DJ, man, in a world that you can sit DJ Moore, your team must be tremendous. But if I have those guys head to head, I'm going to play Puka. And that's an extremely difficult one. We moving on to running backs now?
We sure are. We're going to move on to the aforementioned Kyren Williams.
Excellent.
We'll start with what I think is an easy one, but maybe not. Bijan Robinson or Kyren Williams?
You think it's easily Bijan?
I do, but I'm very biased.
Okay. So looking at my rankings, of course, what are they? Who's these guys? Yeah, they're back to back. Bijan Robinson has the bad matchup. Kyren Williams has the good matchup. He is just activated off the IR. He has the high ankle sprain. I know that Jason's confidence in Kyren Williams this week was well documented on the Megalodon episode. I would go, because I have them so close in my rankings of looking at what the outcomes could be, I would play Bijan. I believe that we are on the path. I think we're on Bijan's path finally. Arthur Smith is removing his head from his anus, as we would say.
Hey guys, how you doing?
Oh, hello, Andy Holloway.
So far I've heard removing his head from his anus, and then when I was driving in, I heard I didn't know you could cross your butt cheeks, but that was part of what you can do with the Ram situation.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
I busted in because I genuinely want to know the answer that everybody really probably can't get, but the Kyren snap count, workload, expectations. Did you see the comments from Sean McVay talking about?
Please share.
Well, I mean, he just basically was saying that, like, before the injury, they already wanted to kind of fix the 95% of snaps problem.
Right.
Which obviously is insane. 95% is insane. But I think that's the only variable in play for Kyren is if he's a 50-50 guy in the first week back or if he's an 80-20 guy. You know, Royce is going to be there. that would be the factor for me in the Bijan. I wonder where you have Kyren.
So I would go with Bijan. So looking at the snaps here, like Darrell Henderson, the week 11, that's when things were at the lowest at 36%. But before that, he was borderline a 60% player. It wouldn't shock me if with the release of Darrell Henderson, it should be Kyren and Royce. I bet it's like 60-40, 62-38, right around there. And what I was saying is I do think that it's Bijan time. I think that we have entered the part of the season where Arthur's going to trust him more. Algier, I don't know how Arthur can say all these things about Tyler Algier and then look at the numbers and look at the film and be like, yeah, this is the better thing. I know we've been hitting on that all year long, but you have a really big sample now of Bijan being a great player and Tyler Algier actively harming your offense when you give him carries. So between those two, it could certainly end up being Kyren, but I would play Bijan if I had them both.
Okay, what about Rachaad White or Kyren?
Oh man. So again, I'm not concerned about the injury. Rachaad, especially with the team saying that Keyshawn Vaughn is inactive. He is in a really good spot against Indianapolis. Just a reminder, games in Indianapolis, their over-under is the highest in the NFL right now because the Colts, they tend to play fast. The Colts don't have a great defense. I think this could be a real fun game for fantasy football. They both certainly have some risk because there's still some risk, but I would play Rachaad White. The guy's just an absolute volume monster right now, and that includes just a huge amount of receptions. So I'm going to stick with that. I don't think I need to weigh the matchups because they're both positive for the running back. So I'm going to go with Rachaad White though.
All right, we're going to hit one quarterback and then we'll get to the people. People are asking about Justin Fields. Are you starting Justin Fields or Kyler Murray?
People concerned about Justin Fields? The guy just ran for 100 yards. I would play Justin Fields.
Okay.
They're both mobile. Justin Fields obviously is more prolific when it comes to padding the stats in the rushing game, and his connection with his number one wide receiver is great. DJ Moore right back to life as soon as Justin Fields has been there. Kyler in this new offense with Hollywood Brown, which I don't know. This is just a kind of a side note, but Hollywood Brown, the rumors out of Arizona have started to shift quickly in he will get another contract, which was a little bit surprising given I feel like I've heard no Arizona beat reporters even talking about it. He hasn't accumulated a bunch of stats, for what we're used to with Hollywood. So maybe they're just saying, whatever, it's a dead year. We'll give him leniency that he hasn't produced this year, and we'll bring him back. So just a little dynasty pointer there. But I'm going to play – I will play Fields over Kyler Murray.
Okay, and is that confidence in Fields enough to start him over C.J. Stroud?
No, C.J. Stroud's the GOAT, man. C.J. Stroud's so good. I believe – let me just verify here. I believe that – hasn't Stroud already played the Jaguars? Yeah, week 3. That was like his first top 12 game. C.J. Stroud beat the Jags 37-17, 280 and 2. He gives you a couple yards on the ground, nothing huge. But yeah, I would go with C.J. Stroud. This guy is just an absolute maestro right now, and he's fantastic. He's been great for fantasy football. That one's not I guarantee Stroud will outproduce Kyler Murray, but if I had to choose between the two of them, I'm going to stick with the
Justin Fields. Is what?
not
Kyler Murray.
But but even over Justin Fields, I'm going to go with C.J. Stroud. That's way more fun to watch. I mean, you're not, as much as the confidence I have in Justin Fields, still every time you watch him take a snap, you're like, oh Justin, what are you doing? Okay, good one. And then you just do that over and over like 30 times. I'd play C.J. Stroud.
All right, Mike, let's get to the people.
All right.
Stardom, set 'em.
Also, just brief hot rumor mill stuff in case people had missed it, because this one was from Rap Sheet, so it's pretty out there. But I think it was Rap. The Steelers intend to give Jaylen Warren even more work and to give George Pickens more targets. George Pickens, kind of my interesting player to watch for the Steelers as the offensive coordinator shift happens. Do they get more creative? Almost anything is more creative than what Matt Canada was putting out there, but do they get George Pickens? Do they scheme him targets instead of just hoping that he wins down the field? So just that is of note. All right, let's get into it. We got Christian says CJ Stroud or Justin Herbert. Man, what a good problem to have, and it's CJ Stroud for me. You got Justin Herbert against the Baltimore Ravens, and you have CJ Stroud just being the best quarterback of all time currently. That's too hyperbolic, but I'd play Stroud over Justin Herbert as of this moment. We got Evil? I don't know. Sorry. Rashee Rice, Khalil, or Tyler Hill. Yeah, this is nasty. We got Rashee Rice, Khalil Herbert, or Tyler Boyd at flex in a full point PPR. That one, I think that one actually just becomes easy. It becomes Rashee Rice. You have both Tony and McCole Hardman out for the Kansas City Chiefs. I don't expect things to change drastically for Rice, but at least he's their best wide receiver right now, and they have more reason to get him on the field, more injury reason for the rest of them. Next question is Joe wants to know Josh Downs or Zay Flowers. I would still stick with Zay Flowers. Again, he carries some risk because of that hip. A tweak there would be catastrophic, but with Zay Flowers set up against the Chargers, I'm going to go with that. Next question comes from Matt, who says Warren. So Jaylen Warren or Devin Singletary. So overall, here, I'll just kind of give you a Devin Singletary update. I mean, there's obviously far less options now because of the 4 games that have already taken place. But it's like if I had Ramondre Stevenson, if you had Ramondre Devin Singletary, I think that's an extremely difficult scenario and start-sit question. I would probably go with Ramondre Stevenson, but then to Jaylen Warren versus Singletary. So Warren gets to play the Bengals. It's the divisional game. I know it's a divisional game against a backup quarterback, but the AFC North, man, they can give us some absolute nasty games from time to time. I mean, I guess, Texans is a divisional game as well. I will go with Jaylen Warren. I'm going to stick with the guy who has super juice. That's tough. It's very, very tough to sit Devin Singletary down after what he has done for 2 weeks. But I think that it will balance out while Jaylen Warren, with that blurb that we got, you can have a little bit more hope. Next question here. Blazing Bowman. So another Jaylen Warren or Kyren Williams. That one I would go Kyren. I would trust in the Rams versus the Arizona matchup. Next question is Matthew says Tank Dell or Devonta Smith. Oh, brother. That is a tough one. I'm going to go. So Devonta Smith has the Buffalo Bills. It's the highest over-under, I believe, of the week. Let me just go verify that. Yeah, it's
it is,
tied.
I believe, 48.5 or something?
Yeah, we're sitting at 48.5. The Ravens-Chargers are sitting at 48.5 as well. But so that puts both the Eagles and the Ravens are implied at nearly 26 points. I'd go Tank Dell. I'd go Tank Dell. I mean, it's basically C.J. Stroud and Tank Dell until proven otherwise. I mean, these are with 3 games in a row for Tank Dell. I'm not going to bench him. I think that it would be a mistake to do that. I lost my questions. Don't give me to get back. All right, we got it. Patrick wants to know McBride or likely full PPR. Projected to lose, need a home run. I still think that's Trey McBride. His target share has been not Dobbsian, but Kyler is still heavily targeting him. You know, Michael Wilson is out yet again. And Isaiah Likely's range of outcomes, I don't think you can get a home run from him, but I think that you can definitely get 1 or 2 points, where 1 or 2 points from Trey McBride is not possible. And he can also boom. I mean, the 2 monster games that he has given us so far, the one last year and then the one this year, I mean, that's a home run. And there's very few tight ends in the league that can actually do that. And so I'm going to stick with that matchup. The Rams versus Cardinals could actually turn into a decently fun offensive game. Let's see. We're a little bit over, so let's try and blitzkrieg a few. Grant, Singletary or Sutton? Cortland Sutton can. Oh my gosh, there's no way. There's no way. Sutton, there's no way he scores again, right? Against the Browns?
He's definitely riskier than Singletary. But, I mean, he could definitely score, but probably not, but probably.
It's unbelievable.
I mean, Singletary you feel like is going to get the majority of the.
Yes. Yeah, I think he's still like a 65.
Has Sutton had any ceiling games, or is this just like.
Oh, no.
These are all just a score and a few yards.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, I lean Singletary.
I do as well. It's just hilarious of what do you possibly do with Cortland Sutton? Zach wants to know Ingram or Taysom Hill at tight end.
Wasn't Sutton a
I'm going Taysom, by the way.
My guy last year?
Yeah.
That's how that works, though, right?
Yes, it is.
If you name him a my guy, then the next year they automatically.
Yes.
Unless you're Gabe Davis and you're.
Well, he was on his way, but he kind of fell.
He's off his way.
Yes, he is. Yeah, no, it's been very frustrating to watch Cortland Sutton do some of the things I expected last year that you got none of last year. But, you know, it's fantasy football. This is the way it works out. BC says Warren or James Conner. I'd go James Conner. I think I'd go James Conner in that one. And then last one, we will get out of here on this one. Again, a reminder, thefantasyfootballers.com. The rankings are all there. The start-sit tool is there. So you can check that out as soon as we are done here. And then last one will go another nasty one. Matt says Cortland Sutton or Drake London in a PPR. In a PPR, I'm going to go with Drake London because Sutton will catch 3 passes and a touchdown. If London catches 5, then it's going to balance out. But Drake London has a chance at a touchdown as well. He's a good player. So that is going to do it, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me on this fine Sunday. Wish you nothing but the best in your enemies. Nothing but the worst. Remember to keep it beautiful. See you tomorrow. Mwah. Goodbye.